Well, hello and welcome to Business Today. I am Chetan Bhutani. Joining me today is Tarun Garg, the Managing Director of Hyundai India. Proudly, as we say, because it's the first time we are speaking to him after taking charge. And Hyundai, of course, has come out with a set of numbers, and we'll be speaking to him about that. Tarun sir, congratulations. With big responsibility comes a lot of work for sure. Tell us about the numbers, sir. Post GST rush, clearly reflecting on the numbers as well.
Yes, thank you so much, Chetan. And yes, it's a huge honor and a huge responsibility to be the first Indian to lead Hyundai Motor India Limited. Yes, I think very, very positive post GST 2.0. We saw a very good quarter, especially December. We had some great retails, and now January also we had the highest ever sales as well as the total sales also including exports and a good year-on-year momentum as well. So looking forward, I think things are looking very positive, and the best part is on two fronts. One is that earlier it was only the rural markets which were showing growth, but now also the urban markets have started showing growth. The second thing is earlier only SUVs were showing growth, but now we are seeing a growth in the other segments, especially the sedan segment where Aura has clocked in the highest ever numbers. So I think all this augurs very well for the auto industry. And on top of it, now the India-US tariff deal adds another positive sentiment flavor to the market and to the customer demand.
Right. How are you viewing these two developments, sir? First, the union budget, and secondly, the India US deal.
So if you see the union budget, I think structural improvements have been done, and especially manufacturing, whether it is electronics, whether it is the chemical, or in terms of battery cells, a very strong positive steps have been taken towards infrastructure, tourism, a fiscal discipline as well, with the fiscal deficit capped at 4.3% of GDP. So it's a very, very long term policy continuity kind of a budget, and now coupled with the India US tariff deal, and of course GST 2.0 also has to be seen, because I think all these steps together have brought in a lot of positive optimism in the Indian industry, and specifically the auto industry, because the GST cuts has given a big boost, and now the sentiment will again help as well.
All right. Reflecting back on the numbers, Mr. Garg, I want to ask you, the rural sales have been quite a highlight, sir, touching a record 24% and over smarting the urban, sales. So, are we seeing, Hyundai SUVs selling more in the rural areas vis-a-vis the big cities?
Yes, rural penetration has been continuously going up. It was about 19% 5 years back, and every quarter it is going up. And this quarter it reached 24% plus. And the best part is that the SUV contribution in rural is also equal to the urban areas. So I think these are two very positive developments. From a Hyundai side, we have taken a lot of initiatives. For example, 7 out of the 10 new say network what we do is in the rural areas. Then we are continuously increasing the mobile vans which can serve the customers at doorsteps in the rural areas. Branding is very strong, and the CNG penetration also is increasing in the rural areas as well. But like I said, the best part now is that earlier the growth was coming only in rural areas and urban markets were showing a decline. But now urban is also growing. So I think this will be like a double engine thing, and which should help us going forward as well.
Tarun sir, I want to quickly ask you, in the past 7 to 8 or odd years, we have been seeing the rural sales really not picking up, especially in two-wheelers also. But now with this trend with GST cuts and cars becoming more affordable and income tax relief and GST cuts, do we see the rural sales now picking up?
No, like I mentioned, rural sales were already good, and now probably the growth, of course, is coming in urban also. But rural growth will be still higher than urban, I believe. And also, as while the growth is happening in every segment, but SUV segment growth is still higher than the say hatch segment. And within SUV also, compact SUV segment is showing the highest growth. I think these are some of the trends which we had also predicted post GST 2.0 cut reforms, and I think that we are actually seeing the same thing, because when you compare say TIV January to August versus September to December, although the growth has happened in hatches also, but the contribution of hatch to the overall industry has actually gone down by 1%, and the compact SUV has gone up by almost 1%. So very clearly the aspiration continues, the growth continues, and the higher growth still continues in the compact SUV, although now all segments are growing.
And Tarun sir, do we see a revival of the small car segment? Maruti, we are seeing eventually has revived the small car segment in its own portfolio. What about you, sir? Do we see the revival of a small car now?
Absolutely. Like I mentioned, Aura had the highest ever sales in the history in January 26, 7,900. And even i20 had a very good sales, Neos. So we are seeing a traction in all segments, and Hyundai is a complete full range OEM. So we are very encouraged by this. And going forward, we believe that we will see a traction in across all segments. But like I mentioned, the higher growth still remains in the compact SUV.
Mm.
So earlier, hatches were negative and SUVs were positive. Now hatches are also positive, but SUVs are more positive, and compact SUVs are even had more positive.
Right, and we saw the export numbers jumping about 21%, while the domestic sales were nearly about 1 or 2 odd percent, if I'm not mistaken. Are you indicating that the India could be the pivotal hub for exports for Hyundai? What is the plan going on there, sir?
Hyundai India has been very strong in exports right from the time we set foot in India, and I think last 1.5 years we have seen that the export traction has been very strong. In fact, at the beginning of this fiscal, we had given a guidance of 7 to 8% growth in exports, but we are at about 18%. Even January we had a very high double-digit growth. So going forward, as more and more new models start coming in from the Hyundai portfolio, we will look for opportunities in the export markets. The venue, the new venue is being exclusively produced in India. So this again throws up opportunity for the new markets. So I think we are very confident that export traction will continue. And of course, because of GST 2.0, now the domestic is also coming into a high growth rate. So it will be a double engine growth even here.
Also, sir, moving on towards the EV penetration has subsequently, increased into the Indian market. We're at about 4.5 odd percent. Do you feel that waiting for another whole year for an EV would be feasible? And do we plan to get an EV earlier than planned?
Look, absolutely. In fact, if you see, like you said, 2.5% in 24 and 4.5%, 4.6% in 25, it's a big jump in EV penetration. And we will like to add to our current existing portfolio of Creta EV and Ioniq 5. We have already announced that we are going to have a full dedicated India-centric EV in early 27, and the plans are in place. And I think this is going to be a very big step forward. And we are not only looking at products in EV space, we are also looking at the entire ecosystem. The fast charging DC network, especially on the highways, is on in full swing. We currently have about 120 odd, and I think going forward we will have 600. We saw that PME drive scheme has also been launched, and even in this budget, about 1,500 crore outlay for the EV charging infrastructure. That should help really improve the EV penetration further. So going forward, we are very optimistic, and like I mentioned earlier, fiscal 30, we believe that Hyundai's portfolio will be more than 50% green, consisting of EVs, strong hybrids, as well as CNG.
Okay, and sir, input costs are of course a point of worry for everybody, all the OEMs around, especially steel prices up nearly 15 odd percent. Are we reviewing car prices, sir? Is there anything on the hike on the card, sir?
So look, as far as Hyundai is concerned, we always try to absorb as much as possible through cost optimization measures, the rise in commodity prices, and that is what we have always done and we will continue to do in the past. Only when if we are like there's no other option available, only then we pass it on to the customers. So we will see how things progress. I think last 10 days have been very good in terms of palladium prices coming down. So we will watch the moment very closely and then decide if at all we need to increase the price. But the endeavor will be to really keep the prices same and not really pass on the cost to the customers unless we are forced to.
Right. And lastly, sir, we reading the numbers. We saw about the comment about the scrappage policy, and towards the we've not provided for it, and we also see another few OEMs also mentioning about the labor codes. Could you explain the scrappage policy and the labor codes issue, if at all, are you facing?
No, so we are in line. We are in line, and in fact, even for the labor, we last 2 3 years we have been preparing towards it. So the impact has not been that much as compared to the other OEMs. And on the scrappage, I think we are in line as per the regulation which has come in. So we have always met all the regulations in India as far as HMIL is concerned, and going forward also, I think thanks to the kind of technology we have and technology agnosticity we have, I think in future also will continue to meet all the regulations set up by the government.
Right. And lastly, sir, of course, what any comment on the industry growth? 5 to 6% is what everybody is saying. What is Hyundai's plan, sir?
Yes, so SIAM had a OEM conclave where 5 to 6% has been projected, and we for the TIV, and we are also in line with that. And
Mhm.
our endeavor at Hyundai will be to at least match that growth, if not exceed it.
And lastly, if I can ask you, what's the plan for getting at the number two position into the Indian market?
So look, we are looking at we are a long-term player, and of course, we are still the number two OEM
Right.
in terms of domestic plus exports. And while yes, we are very passionate about the position, at the same time, we want to grow responsibly. We have a very strong 45,000 crore investment and 26 model lineup till fiscal 30. A very comprehensive strategy encompassing customer experience, Hyundai Capital coming in for financing, network, and everything possible in terms of the brand, in terms of showroom experience. So we are very fairly confident that we are going to do well. And by the way, just as a trivia, January in registrations, vehicle registrations, we were number two.
Oh, great. All right. Well, thank you so much, Tarun Garg, sir, for speaking to us candidly as always. Well, that was Tarun Garg speaking to us on this set of numbers. And of course, the regaining the number two spot in January, we saw, as per Mr. Garg, that they were the number two and wishing him all the best. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us.
Thank you, Chetan. Thank you.